The Racing Postcast in association with Paddy Power. They prize support UK and Irish racing the night before.
Hello there, welcome along to the Racing Post Weekend Postcast. I'm Bruce Millington and I am joined by Paul Keeley and David Jennings from the Racing Post and from Paddy Power, Paul Binfield. The main focus of attention is at Newmarket on Saturday, where the Dewhurst provides a cracking race and, to my way of thinking at least, a very beatable favourite. We'll see what the guys think. A virtually impossible Cesarewitch and plenty of other decent stuff. We're also racing at York, where there is a fiendishly difficult sprint. Chepstow host what they call a festival. We always think of it as kind of the opening main shots being fired in the jump season, so that's very exciting. And then we've also got a really good Sunday as well. We've got the Munster National, decent stuff at the Curragh, and also Chepstow and Goodwood, so that makes for a very appealing Sunday card. We will start, though, with the Dewhurst, which takes place on the Roddy Mile at 3:30 on Saturday. And just how short is Churchill now, Paul Binfield?
8 to 11, Bruce. South Sea's in at 6 to 1. Blue Point 7 to 1, along with Seven Heavens, and 8 to 1 Bar. I'm interested that you think the favourite's very beatable, and I did laugh the other day at your French correspondent Scott Burton, who didn't think a 4-length win in the National Stakes was that impressive. So I look forward to hearing what you have to say.
Okay, well, to be honest, I'm the least qualified to talk about it. I will have my say at the end, but we'll let the others have a go first. Keels Churchill, good thing or one to take on?
I'd stop short of saying he's a good thing. I mean, he was one of those horses that, never really impressed me from winning the Chesham Stakes onward until last time. And he really did look the part last time. Now, you can arguably pick holes in the form and say Memas didn't stay. And I'd be fairly certain that Lockheed is nowhere near as good as Rivet, who's a stablemate and running in the race. So, I was prepared to take him on earlier in the week when there was each way bet in 3 places. Rather annoyingly, we got 7 runners, so you haven't got that anymore. My concerns about the others, Blue Point, I don't think he'll stay a 7th furlong. South Seas' form is all on soft ground and it's going to be pretty fast. Can you believe they're watering in October? It's quite staggering. I can't remember it happening before. It probably has.
Are you blaming Newmarket or blaming Jesus for not providing enough rain?
We'll blame Jesus if he existed. I'm not convinced he did.
We're doing a separate podcast on that.
we can talk about. I could talk about that forever. But anyway, I like the way Rivet ran at Doncaster. I thought he did take an age to get going, but the runner-up Thunder Snow had a very easy time of it in front and quickened when he wanted to go, and Rivet gradually got to him, and I thought he learnt a lot there. I'd take him against the favourite, not entirely convinced. I'd love to be able to bet each way now, but I can't. But I do think the favourite is solid.
It's a killer, that, isn't it? Just the 7.
Yeah.
Is there anything in South Seas pedigree that suggests that the firm ground will be an inconvenience?
No, not necessarily. I mean, Lope de Vega does get a fair few that like soft ground, but I mean, horses can act on anything. But the fact is that all his form is on soft-ish ground, and he looks very much at home on it. So that would worry me.
DJ, what are you going to do vis-a-vis Churchill? Back, lay, or sit it out?
I'm not a huge fan, Bruce, but I think Paul summed it up perfectly there. Probably the last day was obviously his most impressive. I went right through the form this weekend, and it just there's no real outstanding piece of form. If you go through the Chesham, Isomer and Kunko, I think are rated 97 and 99 now. He fell over the line in the Tyre Stakes at Leopardstown where he beat the horse of Stacks, Alexios Kamenenos, or whatever way you pronounce it. Then he beat Radio Silence, who's been stuffed since in the Futurity. And you could probably say that he bumped into a non-stayer in Maymas last time in the National Stakes. And, the race fell apart. Psychedelic Funk, who I was given a chance to, ran an absolute shocker. Lancaster Bomber was in there. And as Paul said, Lockheed, it was a race that did completely fall apart. So while he was quite impressive, I'm not just convinced by him. I don't think he's beaten a real good horse, a real good juvenile at the top of his game yet. So he hasn't yet. So I think we have to take him on. And I'm not as convinced as Paul that Blue Point won't stay. I thought the day he beat Mocaris at York, I'd be a big fan of Mocaris. And I thought his best furlong was the final furlong that day when he really pulled clear. I know the last line was disappointing that he beat him last time, but I I think you have to look at the Charlie Appleby stable as well. I just did a quick look there. I think of his last 9 runners, they've all finished first or second. And I think he's had maybe 5 or 6 winners out of his past, maybe 10 or 11. They've all basically been finished first or second. If you look back on their runs, they're in flying form. I think Blue Point will probably stay, and I think he's probably the alternative to Churchill at around 7-1.
Okay, so then, Paul, you've heard the case, not necessarily against Churchill, but there's no particular glowing endorsements. Presumably, you want to big up the Fav, do you?
Well, I do think the National Stakes form was very good, Bruce. Clearly, this is the sort of price of a 2-year-old race where you would like to take on the favourite. I do agree it's very disappointing we haven't got the 8 runners because it's going to put off, the each way thieves. Paul Keeley's keen on Rivet at 8-1. If we have one more runner, that might look attractive. But I do think Churchill will be very, very difficult to beat.
Okay, what's that background noise there, Paul? You got your television set on?
No television set, Bruce. I'm currently at Newmarket Racecourse awaiting the Friday card while we go through Saturday's fair.
Oh, okay. Is there any chance you could tell the people all around you just to shut the hell up? Just shout, shut up, everyone, or something.
I'd like to do that, Bruce, but it's all your team that are making the noise, unfortunately.
Well, even more reason, yeah, that's fine. That absolutely.
Lee Mottershead in particular.
Right, well, I mean, he should know.
Previews.
He should know that we've got a postcast going on, shouldn't he?
He says he's got 90 horses in the Cesarewicz to get briefings for, Bruce.
Turn to put his violin away and get on with it. Right, I think we've done the duos. I would just say, it just feels like he's a bit too short, that's all. I'm going to take him on with South Seas, who I think has been excellent, albeit unproven on this terrain so far. Right, let's get stuck into what is traditionally one of the hardest races of the year. The Cesaro, which takes place at 4:10 in about 3 different counties in East Anglia. How do you bet? Because despite the fact, Paul, that we've had 2 66-1 and a 50-1 winner in the last 4 years, there's quite a few shorties here, isn't there?
There are a few shorties, Bruce. This St Michel, he looks really well in if he can run up to his Doncaster Cup form. That one's 6-1 favourite. Starchy Tech at 7-1. Sweet Selection, I believe Paul's going to tell us why. That one's going to win in a moment at 8-1. Sea of Heaven 12, and then 14 Bar. But that very, very hard heat to find the winner, and as you say, short enough ones at the top of the market.
Well, go on, we'll stick with you, Mr. Binfield. Who'd you like?
I'm going to stick with the one I gave in Monday's postcast, the Blue Rambler. Ian Williams, first run for a long time at Haydock last month, came third to Intense Tango. I thought that was very encouraging, and I think Ian Williams in these big handicaps is always an attractive proposition.
Okay, over to you, Keel. Sweet Selection.
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, San Michel's been favourite for ages because he ran third in the Doncaster Cup, and he went up to a mark of 112. It was officially £15 well in. Now, Sweet Selection was a couple of places behind him then and 5 lengths behind, but she was giving him £11, and the difference now is just £2. And the handicapper says that she's £17 well in. And even, she was 16-1 before that race. She was 16-1 for 2 weeks afterwards as well. People have started to get stuck in since. I mean, 8-1's as short as you want to go in a 35 runner handicap. But if the handicapper could have another go, she's near the bottom of the weight. She would be joint top weight with Fun Mac. So she is absolutely lobbed in. She won over 2 mile 2 furlongs at Newbury earlier in the season when she was just going away at the end. She was strongest as possible at the finish. The way the race will be run will suit. And the only thing is, a lot of the fancied horses in this race are drawn out wide. And I know you think the draw doesn't really matter, but it all depends on what the jockeys think. Because if there's a perception that the far rail is the place to go, and it quite often is on Cesaro's day, then all these horses drawn in high double figures, 20 plus, are in trouble. We have had winners from stalls 1, 2 and 4 in the last 10 years. There's only one bend, but obviously you've got 35 runners sweeping round it, so you're going to lose an awful lot of ground. If they come up the centre, it won't be such a worry. Obviously, Frankie won from the front from stall 36 on Never Can Tell a few years ago, so it can be done.
Did I actually say that the draw doesn't matter? I probably have said it in the past, but I mean,
lots of people have, but I mean, I think you find that especially if you're drawing in the 30s, you're in a bit of trouble. And Stark Tech's in the 30s. and a couple of others that are fancied are up there high as well.
Give us a big price one then that might
Big
run
price
well.
one, well, it might be a bit of a silly one. I don't know. The Minch of Jim Goldie's. I'd have preferred a bit softer ground, but he's only won 3 times on the flat. Each time in really good races. Finished ahead of a few running in this when he ran in the Queen Alexandra at Royal Ascot, and. He was second in the second, or he won the big bumper at.
Is that the horse that made its debut in the Aintree bumper?
Debut in the Aintree bumper, yeah. Now, he's got a lot of ability. This is his first time in a handicap. I think a mark of 92 is fair. I think it's got a fair future, and it might just be one at a massive price. Because they go hard and it's a real stamina tester, it'll come to the fore. So I think he's an interesting one at a big price.
Can you believe Paul Keeley's tipping such young horses, DJ? It's amazing, isn't it?
He's a change man.
Oh, especially when you consider Caracciolo won it at the age of 11 or 12, didn't he?
Quite.
He'll be trading in the missus next.
Oh, yeah. Let's not go there. Kills is one of the most happily married men I know.
Yeah, can't do that, mate. She's like a fine wine, mate. She's improved with age.
I tell you what, of all the things...
Unlike her old man.
Of all the things that will not happen, Mr. and Mrs. Keeley, they are absolute till death do they part. It's lovely to see. What's your view, David Jennings, on the Cesarewitch?
I've long fancied, for a long time now, I've been fancying Sea of Heaven. This whole bloody Saint Michel and Sweet Selection being so well in is really worrying because, theoretically they should be fighting out the finish. But I just thought Sea of Heaven, when it beat one of Paul's favourites, Nikita at Ascot in July, the minute I won that race, I kind of said to myself, do you know what, that's the ideal Cesarewitch type. It's drawn in stall 1. Ticks a lot of boxes. I think 94. I think that day it won at Ascot. Luke Morris said afterwards, straight after the race, he said that the Cesarewitch might be the perfect race for us. And it's interesting that he hasn't ran him since the kind of, I think it was the 20th of August when it ran in that race at Chester, that listed handicap that Muntaha won, and nothing went right that day. He was hampered at the very start, and then had to kind of come around the outside, and he's only beaten 5 lengths. I thought it was a fair run, and I thought it was the type of run. It was like going out, right, we want to keep his handicap mark 94, and that's exactly what happened. We don't want to go up because we don't want him to have too much weight in the Cesarewitch, and we don't want him to go down because he mightn't get in. So I just thought it was the perfect type of run.
Dave, he was always likely to get in. I mean, anything in the high 80s tends to get into this race. But my worry with him, Dave, is he's a nutter. Things go wrong for him all the time.
Nutter,
I mean, he absolutely pulled the arms out of the Japanese jockey at. In the Shergar Cup.
He did, yeah.
And he's done that before as well. It wasn't just as a Japanese jockey, he couldn't hold it. I can't remember, Ikezoe his name was, wasn't it? It wasn't just the fact that he couldn't hold it, because he did that earlier in the season as well. And 35 runners, big field like that. I mean, what's he going to do? That worries me. I do think he's a very talented horse. Yeah, well, he might win, but
I think stall 1 will probably be a help to him because he'll hopefully be able to get a bit of cover and settle better. Like even that day against Sweet Selection in Newbury, again, as you say, he was so keen, but I do think he's got loads of ability.
Oh, he has. Without a shadow of a doubt, wouldn't argue.
Are we getting any mercy? Sorry, David. Are we getting any mercy from the bookies in terms of each way here, Paul? How many places are you playing? 7?
Let me just have a quick look at that. We're 5 places, Bruce, so that's fairly generous, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah, incredible. Anything else on the Cesarewitch before we draw a line under it? Go on.
One of the big price, Bruce, that'll travel well, mightn't stay, but it's 33-1 is Moonmeister of Tony Martin's. Tony won it with leg spinner a few years ago, and obviously Quick Jack has travelled so well in the race before and looked like she probably should have won it. But I just think Moonmeister, the way it travelled at York over a 1.5 miles, Franny Norton that day maybe got there a little bit too soon, but ran quite well over 1.1 miles at Gorham Park last time.
Right, the Tony Martin, Mikel Barcelona team could be interesting, couldn't it? Right, 255. It's the Dubai 100 Autumn Stakes. 2 winners of this race in the last 10 years have won the Racing Post Trophy. Who are they? Let's see who's got there.
I've absolutely no idea.
Kingston Hill and Ibn Khaldoon.
Really? Bloody hell.
How about that? So, it's a race with some potential clues, isn't it? Have we got some betting, Paul?
We do, yeah. We have Frankie Dettori's Lockheed is the 11-4 favourite for William Haggis. The Anvil 3-1, second favourite. Zane Hom at 9-2. Rodani for Simon Crisford and Sylvester de Souza 5-1. And then it's 12-1 Bar, Bruce.
Surely the Anvil's got to be favourite here, but it isn't. Should be. The Anvil, will that win, Kills? Can you knock the Anvil?
Can't knock it. No, I mean it's got the Royal Lodge form's pretty decent, isn't it? But I think this is far tighter race than that betting suggests it is. And when I was going through the race earlier on, I was staggered to see that Best Solution was as big as 16-1.
Oh, excellent! Staggered. Whenever Paul Keeley says the word staggered on a postcast,
historically, whenever I say staggered, it runs.
That's what the horse
runs
does.
Like it's dragging an anvil. But no, I mean Best Solution was fourth last time. The Larchmont lad, it just got stopped in his run 2 or 3 times. That was 7 furlongs. He's got absolutely bags of stamina on the dam side. And he's finished hands and heels. He's only been beaten a length and a half. I think he's got the form and the ability to go close. Strange booking. William Carson's only really ridden maidens for Saib bin Sarur this season, but he's a decent jockey. And I just think the horse has got far better form than 16-1 odds suggest, and I couldn't back anything else.
16-1 Best Solution for Paul Keeley. Who for David Jennings?
I've been on the Rodani bandwagon from fairly early on, Bruce, after hearing that he works quite well in Simon Crisford's yard. I just think he's done very little wrong. I thought he did well to win at Doncaster last time because kind of made his move on the wrong side, and the form of the race worked out quite well with Larchmont lad winning that Group 3 since then. And the form looks solid. Majoris was 4th and the favourite of Michael South's Tamul was 5th. And he looks like the type of horse that just does enough. He's won all 4 starts, and 3 of them have been by half a length or less, and the other was only a 2-runner race at Lingfield. So I think he's still improving. Don't think it's the greatest contest in the world, and until he's beaten, I'm going to stick by him. So it's Rodani for me.
Who for you, Paul Binfield?
Well, I think Lockheed is very interesting. Bruce, obviously, he's the market leader, but it'll be a great pointer for the Dewhurst, the next race. This one was 4 1/4 lengths behind Churchill in the National Stakes, which is good form in its own right, and it might give us a pointer as to how Rivet might run in the Dewhurst.
Righty-ho, anything at Newmarket? Anything else at Newmarket, rather, Kills?
Yes, I quite liked in the nursery, what's it called? Michael Bell's Parsnip. Disappointed, won first time out, disappointed second start, but back at Leicester last time. 3 lengths second to a horse called Rosebridge of Richard Fahey's, who's since gone on to be second in a Group 3 at Ayr. I think that's quite solid form, and I think the extra distance will suit as well. There's plenty of stamina again on the dam side, so Parsnip for me there in that nursery.
Anything else at Newmarket? David Jennings.
Great name, that, isn't it? Parsnip.
It is, yeah, it is. Really nice.
No, I don't fancy that, no.
Do you fancy anything else, Paul?
Possibly in the fillies listed race over 6 furlongs, Bruce. I think that Mise en Rose ran well in the Scepter Stakes at Doncaster, led at the 6 furlong pole, and got touched off and back over the 6 furlongs on Saturday. Should go there with a good shout.
That's Mise en Rose in the 1:45 for Paul Binfield. Newmarket is done. York next.
Here's Paddy Power's latest horse racing offer. It's money back as a free bet if your horse finishes second to the SP5 at one meeting every day this month. Paddy Power, you're welcome. Max free bet £25, 18 plus. Please gamble responsibly.
Okay, so the main event at York is the 3:45. It's the Coral Sprint Trophy. 20 runners. Have we got any prices yet, or are your colleagues in the compiling department still scratching their heads on this one, Paul Binfield?
No, but they're currently scratching at the moment. Bruce, I'm afraid we don't have any prices at the present time.
If they were ringing you up and saying, Paul Binfield, help us out here, who's going to win this, what would you say?
Well, I quite like this Normandy Barrier, actually. That one at Doncaster for Nigel Tinkler. The Tinklers have had a few gambles over the year, taking a few quid off the bookies. £5 higher with Andrea Azzini on board last time. We've got a promising claimer called Lewis Edmonds on board, takes off 7, and I think that one will go well.
Kills, there's a 9-year-old here. Who fit? Are you going to tip it?
No, mate, no, but he did land a gamble in the Stewards Cup Consolation a couple of starts ago, so he's certainly no back number at 9. I'll give another couple of years before I get interested in him, though. Captain Colby will be favourite, quite obviously, because he won the Portland in pretty good style, and he'll probably take a fair amount of beating. He's drawn stall 1. That's the right side here, based on this season's runs at York. Most of the sprints have been won by horses in the low numbers. But I will take him on with Get Knotted, who's sort of being reinvented by Michael Dodds as a sprinter, and was second last time in the Silver Cup Ayr. He has 3 runs to his name at York, all over 1 mile and 7 furlongs. First one last year, he was third to My Dreamboat and Hathal. Now, My Dreamboat is £30 higher, Hathal's £15 higher. Then he was second to Classic Seniority, who's won twice since, including the Ayr Bronze Cup. And then he won from a horse called Above the Rest, who's since come out and won at Chester by 7 lengths. So all his form at York is red hot. He's about 12 to 1. He's got no problem at all with faster ground than he had at Ayr last time. So I think he's a decent each-way bet against Captain Colby, who has to be respected.
And what's your overall view of Saturday's card, Kills? I mean, what I always ask you is, what price are you to win? Are you confident?
I start the day 7 on and tend to drift throughout it. But
sometimes you're less confident than others. You seem to be seeing it fairly big here, don't you?
Yeah, I know. I've got some quite strong fancies, yeah. And Get Knotted is certainly one of them.
Will he be in a multiple? Will you... banging in a little life changer?
Yeah, I may well. Mind you, I've laid out so much today, I need to get some back first.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is today a big day for you?
Today's a fairly big one, yeah.
Which is the one horse you most want to win?
I need big time to win.
Big time, OK. David Jennings, your view on the Coral Sprint Trophy?
Yeah, I'm actually going to agree with Romeo there, so I am. I think Get Knotted says... The York form, Paul has actually stolen all my notes here. If it was countdown, I'd have to show you over the...
So you got notes, mate. Mine's come straight off my head. I haven't got a single note on me.
Given how much he says during these things, he must be up all night writing the bloody thing. It must be longer than War and Peace.
Shorthand, Bruce. Shorthand.
What a professional.
Yeah, I all the reasons that Paul said, he said them better than I ever could. And I think another one that could go well at a big price is Orvar, who hasn't ran since May, dropped down to 96, could go well, but Get Knotted would be my first choice. All
right then. Anything else at York, Mr. Keeley?
Yeah, there was a couple I got to find of us. Yeah, I know he's gone up £10, but Mythcal in the opener, that absolutely bolted up in the Consolation Cambridgeshire first run for Michael Appleby. I think he'll probably win again. He's up £10 higher. And I quite like the look of Autocratic in the next race at 2:35. Sir Michael Stouts. Now he was 6 to 1 joint favourite for the big handicap, handicap at Newbury, won by Baydar, and he basically chased too strong a pace on good to soft ground. Virtually everything was under the cosh turning into the straight. He was going quite well, but he'd sat too close to it. Then he got hampered, and he just got eased right off. I think you forget that in this smaller field, he'll go round, track the leaders, and he'll take a lot of beating.
Anything from you, DJ, at York? Oh, sorry, Kills.
I'm just having a quick look. No. If you're looking to chase, which I probably will be doing in a 4:55, Gleese the Devil is back on a similar mark as to when winning over course and distance last year. He's been a bit of a disappointing stayer for me because he's related to a couple of the Gabriels and should be better than he is, but I think he's handicapped to win.
Righto, DJ, York.
Yeah, there's just one, Bruce. I think he could be in a different league. A Silverline in the Rockingham, that listed race, the 3:10. It was last of all, obviously, in the last time out in the Middle Park. But I don't think that was a true reflection. If you go back through his form, close up fourth to Maymas in the July Stakes. I thought it ran quite well at Royal Ascot as well. And just went through the race this morning. I think he could be in a different league to those Silverline.
Binners, what have you got for us at York?
I think I'll take on David in that Rockingham Stakes. Bruce, this Ernst Stavro Blofeld, he's miles behind on Racing Post ratings, but he's one from one, winning at Yarmouth, justifying favouritism, and my understanding is he's pretty good. So maybe if he's a price, maybe get an each way. Give him an each way chance, Bruce.
I don't think they should have allowed that name through. Ernst Stavro Blofeld, all one word.
It was probably the number of characters allowed, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. You're allowed 18 characters, aren't you?
Yeah.
But, it's
just fantastic name, Bruce. What's wrong with it?
Well,
just want some spaces.
Yeah, it's just a bit awkward. I mean, if you're writing that on a betting slip, it's just a bit. I don't know.
Snow parsnip.
No, exactly. Yeah, parsnip and Silver Line in that race. Okay, right. We're done at York. Let's look at Chepstow, even where. If you remember the good old days, it used to signal the start of the jump season. The BBC cameras would be there. They'd do that big cutaway of the Severn Bridge, and you'd get some really good horses coming out and strutting their stuff. In terms of overall quality on this card, Kills, I guess we're not going to know till maybe Cheltenham whether there's any absolute gems here. There's a few familiar faces and some old friends, but perhaps it's some of the novices that whose career and whose fame lies ahead of them, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, the novice chase was, this was initially put down, the 3:15 as a possible for Thistlecrack, but that hasn't happened. There's a couple of interesting horses in the race. Obviously, Clandezeau getting all the weight allowances of Paul Nicholls. He looked like a chaser last year. We know with the Nicholls horses they're going to be so well scored. But the top flying Angel is no mug, nor is Hammersley Lake. Or Thienval. So there's some decent horses there. Possibly not the quality that there has been in this race in the past.
Let's look at the 425 Kills, okay? The Topol Silver Trophy, which obviously has a lot of very familiar names, and I'd be disappointed if you haven't got one for us.
I half fancy. I mean, I'm looking forward to Chepstow as much as any of the other race meetings, to be honest, because there's some decent racing there. But I won't be having massive bets. But I think T and Transvaal is interesting in this race. He won at the meeting last year. Off a mark of 128, he won a listed hurdle at Newbury later in the season. She went up to 138, and in 2 starts since, running once at the festival behind Limini, and then once more at Perth in August, and has dropped £7 straight away. That's pretty quick to drop £7 in 2 runs. Bang on bottom weight. Just think it's very interesting because took to the course very well last year. Will make the run in and just fought everything off. I can see her doing it again.
David Jennings, have you got a fancy in this one?
I thought Taquin de Sol was interesting off 148. I think he's still 156 over fences, and for the simple reason I don't think he's a particularly good jumper. I think he's done well to get as high as he has done over fences, and I thought he was interesting. When I seen the entries now, I thought he was the one that really took my eye out, and it could be a case of going back down the hurdling route with him this year. It was a bit of a tale of woe in the end last season, although he was tried at a fairly high level. I think he ran in the Ryanair behind Vautour. Ran quite well that day. I think he finished 6th.
Yeah, Davey's bomb-proof in the mud. Right, I know he has some good ground form, but I mean, when the mud's flying, that's when I tend to unload on him.
Absolutely, he copes with it better than the rest of them. But I think it was when he was second to Minora last year in Wetherby. I think he was, or 2 years ago, was it, in the Charlie Hall 2 years ago? Yeah. I thought it was decent enough ground that day. But yeah, he was the one at entry time. Who Dares Wins, I think, goes quite well fresh as well, so he's interesting. But Taquin de Sol, would be the most interesting one in that for me.
Paul Binfield, remind me, do you prefer flat or jumps?
I do prefer flat, Bruce. In past years, we've always maintained that the jump season starts at the Paddy Power meeting. Now we're no longer involved with that. The jump season starts at Chepstow tomorrow. And I'm looking forward to seeing KG Burley running this Tote Silver Trophy. Been off for 542 days. Not sure if he'll be able to win on Saturday, but it could well be a trial for another go at what is now the Bet Victor Gold Cup at Cheltenham next month.
All right. Anything else at Chepstow, Kills?
The handicap chase, 16-runner handicap chase. Really, really good race.
What time's that one at?
That's 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock. So again, another one for the chasers in a chase. Right, Union East tops the weights. Off a mark and 140s. He'd be interested if the ground was soft, but I think this could just be the perfect race for Henryville. He was now rated 144. He was fourth, beaten only about 2 3/4 lengths in the Temps final a couple of years ago of 152 and went up 156. So his chase mark's an awful lot lower. Quite highly tried last season. Brought down last time out at Market Raisin in the Summer Plate when he was making a challenge. Now he wouldn't have won, but I think the extra distance in his favour. I think the long straight is in his favour as well. And I think if Harry Fry has him ready, he'll probably go very well in what is 6-7 to 1 to field race.
Okay, mate. Let's get everyone's best bets of Saturday.
If he doesn't win, I will be absolutely staggered. I think it's a stone cold certainty.
Who'd you like, Kills?
I'm going to go Get Knotted in a 3:45 at York.
David Jennings.
Yeah, I'd be very surprised if Silverline didn't win that. I think is it a 3:10 at York?
Okay, and Paul Binfield.
1:45 Newmarket, Bruce. I'm going to go for that Mise-en Rose.
Jolly good. Back with the Sunday cards in a minute.
Here's Paddy Power's latest horse racing offer. It's money back as a free bet if your horse finishes second to the SP5 at one meeting every day this month. Paddy Power, you're welcome. Max free bet £25, 18 plus. Please gamble responsibly.
Bruce Millington, Paul Keeley, David Jennings, and from Paddy Power, Paul Binfield are looking ahead to a cracking day's action on both sides of the Irish Sea on Sunday. And David, you can make the editorial decision. Do we start at the Curragh or Limerick?
Well, I'm in Limerick. I'm going to be working from Limerick, so we start off in Limerick.
We start at the Curragh then. Okay, no, we'll start at Limerick if you say so. And it's the JT McNamara. Very, very nice touch to name it after the great man. Ladbrokes Munster National, Zillion runners, 3 miles, soft ground. And take us through it, David Jennings. Who's going to win?
I'm on a hat-trick here, Bruce. I've backed the last 2 winners of this race. I backed Sham Palace in 2014 and I backed Sadler's Risk last year. So I'm on a hat-trick. And I think last year's winning trainer, Henry de Bromhead, could supply the winner this year. I really like the King of Brega, number 11.
That's a good name for a horse.
The King of Brega,
yeah. That is good.
Yeah. He's one of these horses. He's a little bit of an enigma. I remember when he was trained by Pat Downey and he won one day a hurdle race at Down Royal, and he won by an absolute mile that day at Down Royal off a mark of 94, and he has kept improving since. I think he loves Limerick. If you go back, he won a handicap chase off 123 in July, and he absolutely bolted up in first-time cheek pieces. It was one of these races where you didn't really know if he stayed or not because he never won over that far, and Dylan Robinson rode him, and he kicked on down the back about a mile out and must have went 25 lengths clear. He won by 12 on the bridle off a mark of 123. He went up to 135, so he went up £12. I thought he ran okay in the Galway Plate. He made a desperate mistake at the third last, and that knocked the stuffing out of him, but it looked like he ran a Clonmel last time in a hurdle race, and it was just a case of getting the confidence back. He finished third to the War of the Pennies. He's been dropped £2. He obviously loves Limerick because that performance was phenomenal back in July. I think he's well handicapped. Dylan Robinson, who rode him that day when he won in July, takes £7 off.
Is he good?
That's crucial. I think the King of Brega at about 16 or 20 to 1 is a huge chance.
How do you like Dylan Robinson? Is he a good pilot?
He's good on this fella, yeah. They seem to get on well together. He kind of lets him do his own thing. He's a bit of a headbanger, this horse. You kind of can't frustrate him, but I think he suits this horse, and I hope he lets him roll like he did the last time he was there.
The best named horse in this race, and one of the best named horses in training, is Killer Crow, isn't it? That's a really serious name for a racehorse. I remember once I was out with my dog. Have you ever had this when you were out with your dog? And a crow came down and dive bombed the dog.
I had once a couple of months ago, and it wouldn't leave him alone.
No.
It just followed us all the way around the park and just kept going.
It made me think back to what it must have been like in the days when you had pterodactyls and actual real proper dangerous birds.
It really was going down right up to his head and then swooping away again. Yeah, very strange.
Who's going to win, Kills?
Mate, I don't know. I haven't looked at the Irish race enough to be honest. I've got one at Chepstow for Sunday though.
Okay, well that's good. We'll wait for that. Paul Binfield, have you had a look at the Munster National?
I have. I agree with David Jennings. Henry de Bromhead will probably win the race, but I'm going for a different horse. I'm going for Stellar Notion. David Mullins is in the saddle, and I like the way this one finished third to Kyle Crew at Listowel last month. And in a minute, Bruce, the lads have been busy, and we've got some betting for that Irish Cesarewitch.
Oh, lovely. Okay, well, I'm looking forward to getting that. But in the meantime, it's always very dangerous to say just over to you, David Jennings, without any limit, because it can mean that you don't get the mic back for about 15 minutes. But take us through the rest of the Limerick card with one or two horses that you think are worth backing.
Yeah, I actually do. It's funny. I actually won't take that long because it's tricky, and I was quite busy this morning, so I didn't get to do as much research or take down as much notes as I was hoping.
Okay, so you've already taken ages to tell us you won't take ages, so crack on.
Probably the Sub-Lieutenant in the 410, that PricewaterhouseCooper rated chase. He's rated 145 and should be in a different league to those. Shadowcatcher, Venetian Demai, Jarrow, but Pair of Brown Eyes. Like he should be different league to them. If he was anywhere above evens, I'd be happy enough to take that.
So how do we bet then, Paddy Power, on the 4:55 at the Curragh on Sunday, the Tote Irish Cesarewitch?
We now go 9-2 Pyromaniac, Bruce for Tony Martin. That one was 6-1. Swamp Fox is 6-1. Cradle Mountain 10-1. Three horses on 12-1. Sluno Frat, Theo as well, an Artful Artist who I like, and then 14 Bar.
All right then, David, over to you for the winner.
I think the favourite wins it, Bruce. Pyromaniac, who's been in the headlines for all the wrong reasons this year. Just thought it probably should have won last time at Leopardstown. Got to the front, did everything right, and then was nabbed just on the line by Quick Jack, and few could begrudge Quick Jack, the consistent Quick Jack, a big pot. I know he won the Galway Hurdle as well. But he's gone up £5 for that, which I thought was fair. The way he travelled through that race, he travelled like a dream, looked like the best horse in the race. Just stamina is the one little issue I have with him. Just 2 miles in the flat. You wouldn't be certain that he'd stay, but I think he probably will. Ushinor, who has proved time and time again that he's really good for his £5 claim. I think it's a case of keeping it simple and sticking with Pyromaniac.
What price is the old Jenny's, Paul?
Jenny's Jewel is 16 to 1, Bruce.
16 to 1, DJ. What a slur on a fantastic mare, surely.
Oh, yeah. She did me some good turning that Ascot Stakes.
She certainly did me as well. She's absolutely fantastic, and I will be definitely putting a chip on that number. Kills, have you had a little look at this one or not?
No.
Okay.
No, I haven't had a look at the Irish.
This is a disgrace. I stayed up all night studying English form, and I'm from Ireland, and he won't even give us a tip in an Irish race.
Yeah, I haven't got time, mate. You've only just done the decks, haven't you? Jesus, well, have I considered the amount of work I had to get through yesterday, mate? You're lucky I looked at anything on Sunday.
So, are you saying you're fundamentally busier than David Jennings?
Yeah, of course I am.
Yeah.
Busiest man at the Racing Post, kidding, aren't you?
Fair enough.
Only you can answer that, Bruce.
I think it's a very strong heat. I think you're both very, very industrious. And so we'll leave it there. David, anything else on the Curragh card?
Oh, look, there's a horse that I've been following all year running the 240, In Solution, who let me down badly the last day. But the ground, I think, just went against it. I'd probably give him another chance in the 240,
so
but he's on chance.
For you, Dave,
he's on chance
eh?
number 38 at the moment.
When do you ever let go of these horses?
I do. I've
Shortly
actually got much better.
Piss up.
I've got much better at letting them go, but I do think he
Have
will
you
take
ripped that
the beat
Kitten Rock poster down off the wall yet?
I actually had a good chat about Kitten Rock, Teddy O'Grady, the other day. Yeah.
Okay, that's
Grand
another story.
Annual in 2017. Watch this space.
David, if we were only backing one horse in Ireland on Sunday, what would its name be?
It would be Pyromaniac.
Pyromania. Okay, then. Right, weekend plans. Kills, what are you up to?
Right, well, hang on a minute. There's a good race at Chepstow.
Sorry. All right.
Yeah, we know a really good race. Chase at Chepstow, 4 o'clock Sunday. Top weight side of Grugy, Irish Cavaliers running. Art Moresco goes very well first for Paul Nicholls, but I quite like Voideau, who had a good season with Harry Fry last year. I think he was over the top when third at Haydock. I think he probably returns on a pretty decent mark. I'd be slightly concerned if Indian Stream runs, because I like her as well, but she's also declared on Saturday, so
it is a good race, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it's an excellent race.
Splash and Ginge. Junction 14. Do you remember he did us a favourite? He topped
it. No, Sandown.
Yes, it was. Of course it was.
In April, yeah.
Excellent. Okay, that is a good race. Yeah, blimey, O'Reilly. All right, so what are you up to then at the weekend, Kills? Given how busy you are, probably the answer from both of you would be just working 24/7.
No, I've actually got a day off tomorrow, so it won't be involving drink. I'll probably just plot myself up in front of the telly and watch the racing.
Well, you don't drink at home, do you?
No.
Why not?
I never have done.
Do you ever have a little drink at home, David?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, myself and Aoife crack open a bottle of wine every so often.
Is she still with you? She hasn't tumbled yet. What a bad deal she's getting out
to
of
be
that
fair,
race.
if I drank at home, I would be dead.
Oh, fair enough.
I think it's that simple.
Thank you, Amy Winehouse. David, what are you up to the weekend then?
Well, this just proves my point that I work so much harder than Paul Keeley, because I'm in Fairyhouse tomorrow and I'm in Limerick Sunday. Justin O'Hanlon's on holidays at the minute, so
you've obviously done bugger all week.
Have you had a busy week as well?
A very busy week, yeah.
Do you find life under the new Irish editor harder or easier than it used to be, David?
No, he's actually very good. Yeah, no, I have to say. He's probably listening to this, so he's actually my favourite person in the world at the moment. So
Excellent. What, even over and above Aoife?
No, he can never be that good, no.
Jolly good.
She listens to this occasionally too.
Is there marriage in the offing here? How old are you now?
30.
30. Well, that's just the right age to settle down now, isn't it, David?
Yeah, no, it's just at that age where women start taking stuff really seriously, and you have to think about like houses and mortgages and kids and all this stuff. Like, it just happened really quick. Like, I'd never thought about it at all for ages. And then it just hits you.
A Christmas engagement coming up?
I don't know. But all of a sudden,
That's
things like In Solution just don't become as important as they once were.
Well, you have to fund it somehow, don't you?
Yeah, that's
Paul
why
Binfield.
back in nags like In Solution.
Yeah, you want to let go of that. Have a quick divorce from that one. Paul Binfield, what's the weekend hold for you?
Well, I'll be working very hard for Paddy tomorrow at Newmarket, and then I'll be keeping a close eye on all of this racing on Sunday.
Yeah.
So after giving Churchill a quote of 9-2 for the 2,000 Guineas tomorrow, what else do you do tomorrow?
Well, we've got a number of shoulder races to keep me busy, Bruce. And
that was Keels. Don't worry about that. It was he who
we'll
besmirched you.
We'll be having a look at Chepstow soon if we can come up with a Bet Victor Gold Cup quote and obviously running around like an absolute madman.
Blimey. Okay, let's finish on this one. We'll have a little competition. We've all got to say what price Churchill will be for the guineas at 10 o'clock tomorrow night. Kills?
9-2.
DJ?
I'll go 12-1.
Binners?
2-1.
I'll go 10-1 because he'll have run okay.
I don't even know where he is now.
I think he's about 5, isn't he? Caravaggio Jolly?
Caravaggio's got no chance of even running in the race, let alone winning it. But there you go.
Okie dokes, we're back on Monday to look back on all the weekend stuff. So do please join us for that. Thank you very much indeed for listening.
The Racing Postcast in association with Paddy Power. They prize support UK and Irish racing the night before.